Yeah, it says go. So here we are. Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, wherever you happen to be. This is the 179th episode of Audionaut's Deep Space Network, otherwise known as ADSN. Hello and welcome. It's lovely to have you here. This is the Independent Musician's Guide to Music and to Marketing and all that stuff that we talk about being part of the independent music world. My name is Curtis. Welcome. Sunwarper is out this week. He's looking after the little one. So it is just myself and Eon Lake, which is no bad thing. How are you doing, Eon Lake?
I'm good. Yeah. I'm wondering if he's getting the regulation haircut while he's not with us, when he comes back.
It is. It's slowly becoming a shaved white man podcast, really, isn't it?
Exactly. It's not perhaps a good look, but I mean, it is a nice feel when you're rubbing your head in despair at some sort of technical problem that's keeping you from doing some music. At least that's what I get out of it. I don't know about you.
You mentioned it last week when we finished the show after talking to Mike, and you're completely right. The ratio of me doing this before and after my haircut is insane. It is soothing. It is soothing. So yeah, I'm down for it, and I'll sit and do this. For people listening, I am just rubbing my head like the shaved egg it is. It does feel good. It does feel good. It has. I can't say it's elevated my music production work at all, but it does give me
a slightly go fast ahead, I suppose.
I thought I might
resistance now.
I thought I might make beats quicker as a result, but yeah, no, it hasn't worked out.
Oh well, worth a shot.
But yeah, there's always next time. I have to see what happens next time. But yes, thank you ever so much for being here. We're having a bit of a discursive week this week. There's plenty of gear to be talking about, but didn't fly on the radar. This has been hanging around the Discord for a while. We're talking about where to place energy, and we'll get to that. So it's very much a discursive episode. We're seeing about where we put our marketing strategies and where we're going to be putting our ideas and where we're releasing, because that's all up in the air. But first and foremost, Eon, what's up? What's your week been doing?
So I've been having fun with a new thing that I wanted to try, and that's taking some acoustic music or some band-based music, something that's got a really solid groove, and recording it as audio and turning it into a groove, and also slapping an envelope follower on it.
Of course.
So that I can use that rhythm and that groove to not gate a synth, but envelope follow a synth pad. And I'm working on if I get the chord changes in the right place with a slightly attacky sort of pad sound. Does it work like a rhythm guitar? And will I get a similar kind of function out of it? I've had some interesting results, some good sounds. Not necessarily what I was going for, but it's been fun trying. So I'm just recording small bits of audio of anything that I think's got a good groove to it and seeing if I can use it, including things I've done myself as well. I did play a few drum beats. You can see my tray is here now. I've had to move it out so that I can get to the drums behind it.
It's funny how these things expand, isn't it, really?
Yeah, because I've been trying to play again. We've said it a bunch of times about, maintaining competence at an instrument, and doing something like that as a warm-up is a good way to start before you start trying to do music. Just play a bit, do a bit of practice, make not all of your musical life about writing.
Makes sense. Like playing first and foremost as opposed to having like an end game, right?
Yeah, so a couple of new techniques to try and a bit more, practice on the kit and stuff, trying to sneak my way in that way.
And how's it been working for you? Has it illuminated anything?
Got some interesting results. God, I've gotten a bit rusty on the drums. I really do need to practice more regularly. That's why I didn't put that back. I'm going to leave it there in my way so that I can get to my drums without too much fuss. But yeah, it's just something I keep forgetting about. and it's not a good idea. I need to keep practicing. There's a number of techniques that I'm trying to get better at for playing things with one hand. I was practicing open-handed as well, trying to play all the stuff I would normally play, but open-handed. So instead of crossing my arms over and using my right hand on the hi-hat, using the left hand and playing open, so that you've got the whole kit's free. You don't have to. A bit like Mike Borden from Faith No More, but it's difficult. I can't play everything leading with the other hand as well as I should. So I'm not quite as ambidextrous as I should be. So it's a lot of things that really make you think, when you're trying to do something, it's not quite happening. It's good for getting rid of stress because your brain's so occupied in the coordination side of things that you can't really stress about anything while you're doing it. So it's good practice. So if you can find anything like that to do on an instrument, something that's hard and requires coordination you can't currently do, it's really good for stress relief because there's no room for more than that one thing.
You just got to stay focused on the matter at hand in that sense.
Yeah, exactly. So
I get that.
my CPU was pegged at 100%, and that was that.
I mean, it's a good place to be. I mean, at the same time, Smiling Arrows, hey Smiling Arrows, there's a couple of people in the chat I say hello to in a sec. Playing is almost writing, and he says that you can't play and not invent stuff, which is a fair point.
Yeah, it does happen that way sometimes. I was, I think, overloading my brain enough for it not to happen this particular time. But that's pretty true in a lot of ways.
Yeah, that makes sense.
What have you been up to? Was it this week? I saw the time lapse of you rearranging the studio yet again.
Again, is the phrase, yeah. Speaking of which, actually, while we're talking that, I'm going to try and copy. I've just found Cresshead's, hey Cresshead, just found Cresshead's Bandcamp link. I'm going to see if I can post it because we've been having problems posting it. Can I get that? Maybe that's come through.
Okay. Yep.
There we go. Maybe that'll come through. So that's Cresshead's new album, Inky, which I personally need to check out.
Apparently, there's a few left. Yeah,
a few left, which is awesome. Beautiful album there. Apparently, I need to check this one out. This one flew under my radar. It's amazing what happens when a couple of the channels on the Discord are collapsed for you, right? And it just my ADHD brain just missed it completely. So there's that. But we want to bring some of that in. We want to kind of check out some of the new music coming out of the community. Seeing as this is an episode about community and about releasing and stuff, it makes sense to shine a light on some of the releases that have come out recently. So grab that when you can. Hey to everyone. We've also got the 16 left, Cresshead says, which is fair play. There's a lot of sales going through there. But Cresshead's in the chat. Survey channel's here. Hello, sir. It's nice to see it. And yes, Lars, we're doing the English stream today. As it may be. We can find our top hats and our monocles. I'm pretty sure mine's down the back of the fridge somewhere. But we'll get there. But I'm leaning into my notion of consistently moving. If I turn this to the side just a little bit, you see, look here, you've got a stand, and then here you've got a stand, and it moves, right? And basically everything is modular, and so now you can see it's just turning up there. I bought a keyboard stand that does 2 layers. This is a mess, right? And so I was like, well, now, well, this is it, right? And I was thinking, now I have to kind of rearrange everything. So that's what I've done, and I feel like it's kind of the end point of something, right? So like I've got an album coming out next month, and then within that time that I've been producing that album, I've written another album, and that's been like the training wheels, so to speak, of this kind of thing that I'm trying out. And with that, it feels like I'm actually like that's come together. So maybe, probably not, but maybe we might see things just kind of stay where they are for a little while. But I have Well, we'll have to see. I like. I've realized that I am. There's meditation and movement. So like it's usually when I'm dancing, or it's usually when I'm just active. I'm moving and tweaking things. But I've also noticed that I do it for procrastination as well.
Uh,
So it's like I have an idea and I'm going to write, and then I get anxious, so I start rearranging the studio. So I've got to. That's my work. That's my balance right now. But what it has allowed me to do is actually do a little bit of digital. I'm doing it again. Look, I'm doing that.
I wasn't going to mention it.
The what I've actually done is I've done a lot of digital hygiene this week.
Ooh.
I've taken a load of Ableton projects, and I've collected all and saved, and I've bounced out stems and I've filed them, and I've put
Wow.
BPMs and done that.
All that stuff I say that I will do and never do.
Well, I never do it. I'm really bad. My hard drive is just as chaotic as any AD.
And then I say, oh, well, I'll do it as finishing a project. I'll save them all out and bounce out the stems and stuff, so I've got everything in an archive, and I never do. So I'm so glad to be finished and finally mixed and mastered that I just don't want to do anymore.
Yeah. It's dead. The project is dead by that point, right? It's just gone. I'm totally with you. On this occasion, I've tried to be better because I've got the main production laptop here, but then I've got this work one, right? And I'm like, oh, if I took the stems and actually did it on another device, would that give me a different angle of producing? So that's an experiment in its own right. So we'll have to see. I like what here. Before we carry on, this is perked up for me from Survey Channel. We just said
Yeah.
I've made some massive progress, which first and foremost is wonderful.
Love to hear. Yeah.
Yes, well done, Survey. That's cool. Finally gave the bones of a seamless FSOL type album, at least structurally, feels like a way to go to spice it up, and that's music to my ears.
Yeah.
That's music to my ears.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
I hear that.
Yeah, it's good to hear you talk good stuff about your own work, Survey. That's awesome. I'm very much looking forward to that. And Lars has said, I'm so mad at myself for not taking the English channel joke. Yeah, that would have
Another
been...
time, maybe.
Yeah, another time.
Think for listeners' side.
If you want, this might happen again. You never know. So Lars, just, go away, have a conversation. Exactly. Just have a chat with ChatGPT. Just collect all these jokes. Just have them on a piece of paper next to you, ready, and then just bang, you can fire them off, right?
It's a start.
It's a start. Yes. So that's where we are this week. Sunwarper's hopefully back next week. He is missed.
Always
missed.
We need his energy.
Yeah, there's always a gaping hole or gaping void when any one of us is missing. But onwards we tread, step by step, as we say. This week we're having a look at, like I say, we're having a look at releasing. I'm having a look at not releasing strategies. I think I don't. We've used that term in the past, and I don't think this is that kind of episode.
No, and it's quite the opposite, really, isn't it? Because if you think about it, releasing strategies are something that have become much less in vogue on the internet in general, and people seem to be focused a lot less on the grind culture, on the algorithm, or which algorithm. We used to spend a lot of time comparing how different platforms perform, and I think we're all getting to a place now where we're getting similar diminishing returns, shall we say, to more or less different amounts. I mean, feel free in the chat to jump in and share your experience of what platforms work for you from a releasing point of view and what your logic is there, but also from a promotion point of view, because obviously there's the whole trying to push a new release as well. And I know for us, obviously, our attitudes have changed of late. I wonder if it's as universal as I've come to think it is. I've certainly heard a lot of murmurings within our community that attitudes towards certain platforms and certain methods of promoting and, the amount of effort to place and so on have changed. And people, very different from a year or 2 years ago, particularly. It does feel like a different world. So, apart from obviously we want to discuss, share our opinions and so on, but would very much like to be hearing from everyone else about
Yeah,
where your head is at the moment.
absolutely. Where's your head at? There was a great song that said, "Where'd your head at?" I can't remember who did it now, but now that's just ringing in
Nathan
my brain.
Jacks.
Yes, of course it is. Yes, of course it is. Yeah. Yeah. Where's your head at? On that note, it's a good place to start. I think this stems from our notions and our discussions concerning, especially in the Discord, certain streaming platforms. So I'm just going to bring Survey into this because he's put it right here. I just want to refer back to what he was saying about his existing project, just because, again, I just want to highlight it. He's excited by it. The technical aspects are becoming a bit unmanageable, so it's probably time to start bouncing stuff down. But such as Curtis, I rarely do the admin stuff anyway. So
It's always a good point to get to, though, isn't it? When you're like running out of power or something and you need to start, refining. It's always a good point. It means you've done a lot.
Exactly. I also, just want to. He digresses onto where he's at. On another note, I really think it's time to pull everything from streaming on my end, and this is,
Well, yes.
this is very poignant because this is kind of what bred this kind of idea for this show in my brain when thinking about releasing next month and whether or not to continue releasing on streaming services, because at least in our community, for much on it, obviously not everyone, but for many, it's becoming a bit of a grind, and it's no longer. It's quite simply, you're not seeing the return on investment that you're making to put your stuff up there.
Yeah. And of course, you could go nuclear with the whole thing. And I think a lot of people are for various reasons. But, it's important to remember there are in between positions that you could think of occupying as well. I mean, there's a certain streaming platform, for example, that is not really flavor of the month at the moment. Does that mean you put all streaming, or you still want to promote streaming platforms that are high bit rate and pay a certain amount? What are your thoughts there? Are any of them worth it?
And that's the fundamental question, right? Like, because then that breeds in its own question. What is a quote unquote worth it for you, right? Like, if we're talking about, is it simply money, right? Because if it's simply money that I pay to DistroKid every year for my subscription, then no. But then I was thinking about doing the similar thing to Survey Channel. I was thinking about pulling all my stuff from Spotify, in doing the nuclear option, and would that be worth it in the sense that I know that there are people who listen and like my music and get some sort of form of satisfaction from my music and listen on Spotify, and at that point, is it less about money and more about allowing people who are connected to your work still be connected to your work? Is that work? Can you put a price tag on that? I mean,
Yeah.
the bank balance can, but what I mean?
I think so. In order to keep this kind of tidy, I think it should break down into two things, and that's that if you've got a new release coming up now, what do you do? With a secondary question being, what about your existing catalog? Any changes there? Now, I'm inclined to think that if you are releasing something new, that Bandcamp is a no-brainer. I can't imagine not wanting to put a new release on Bandcamp. And if there are any reasons people can think of for not doing that, then please enlighten me. But I'm kind of assuming that Bandcamp is a given. And that streaming, I don't know, your objections are going to break down into one of several categories. So I think return on investment is going to be one, right? Because it's it's a little bit of hassle to do the admin, get it uploaded, and all the rest of it, and I think noses are out of joint to a certain extent over certain platforms. Strategies as far as sharing the spoils. There's one in particular that obviously doesn't want to give you anything up to a point. And that's one thing. I think training AI models is another concern. I'm reconsidering all streaming just on the basis of that, really. I'm not interested in training anyone's AI. I'm certainly not training anyone's AI to absolutely swamp the market with slop and squeezing out real musicians, people whose work I love and I think need to be heard. So that's a big consideration for me. Without a tool that will, poison AI, I have a very different attitude to putting things on streaming services now. And it's fair to say, I don't know of a digital distributor that hasn't changed their terms of service to allow people to potentially recycle your music, have rights to do so, and subvert some of yours. So I don't know. I think it's more than just being concerned about royalties. I think there's, at least in the early days, you had control over your material. You could say what happened to it. You had to pay to put it there, and you knew that your rights were protected. It's not that clear now. The returns are much lower, and the AI thing for me is a bit of a no-go area until things have changed, or I could, poison my tracks enough that they're useless to any AI model. So personally, I'm thinking of not using streaming services for my next album. I will maybe put something on streaming services, but I'm even shying away from that. I was thinking maybe I'll just take one track off it and put it on streaming, just so that there's something from me on streaming platforms that's relatively recent, because it's all dating now. But I still find myself reluctant to do that because of AI, and I don't know what ultimately will happen to it, and I'm not interested enough in streaming to find out. It's easier just to not bother, because it is just literally promotion. That's the only reason to have it there. And you could still just put it on YouTube Music or something like that. If I were to put something on streaming services, I would drop Spotify, definitely. I cannot sanction the kind of businesses that they're supporting myself. Some people feel the same way. Some don't care, I think. But for me, no, certainly not. But I don't have the same thing against the other streamers necessarily. It just feels like a bit of a time waste. But
I get that. It's an interesting. It's interesting you say time waste, because we're talking about energy here. We're talking about kind of like where to put our energy and where to balance our energy in regards to releasing. And while there's a lot of spotlight on Spotify, and for good reason. There are other platforms out there in that regard who claim to be better and claim to be fairer. We go back to it at the same time, don't we? That goes through a distribution channel, and it's the terms and conditions of that distribution channel which is now alluding, and mandating, whatever you want to call it, the notion of potentially your music being used to train an AI model, which is just another. The problem is the
or allowing users to remix it and have the rights to their remix.
Yes.
And you losing all control in that way. That's not for me either.
Me too, and this is an interesting one. There's a lot of chat, and I will go through it, and I want to come back to what some people have been saying, but because it pops up now, what FCC is saying here is really important. One of my 17-year-olds favorite band has removed themselves from Spotify, and he has no idea how else to listen to their music. That's the world we live in these days. Kids have no idea, and that's really interesting and really important. I see that in the place in my place of work. It's the same thing, and it's where do you balance the notion of being the moral objector versus the business acumen of, well, that's where the market is, right? And
Well,
I'm not
depends, though. I mean, have you looked at the makeup of your listeners? Mine aren't that young. I'll tell you that.
okay.
Mine probably know where else to find music.
Okay, so maybe that's a really interesting point then. So it comes down to literally that notion of knowing your audience in that sense and knowing where they come from.
Yeah, and you probably should, right? I mean, it makes all the sense in the world to have that information about who's listening on what platform and whether they have some idea about how casual they may or may not be. Because really, you need to, if you want to be relatively successful, and by successful I mean, to see some return for doing something that you love, as opposed to booking the next world tour, and road crew and all the rest of it. It's knowing your market, I suppose. Really, and why would you waste time elsewhere if you had that information? Everybody encourages you. All the people who apparently know what they're talking about will encourage you to develop your own relationship with your audience, and a direct one that doesn't have to be filtered through anyone else. And that's the real power of the modern situation. So yeah, have a look.
Have a look and see where it's out. I mean, this is coming back up to what Chris had said about their new release for Inky. I just took old photos of the CD and posted it to YouTube posts, Facebook, Discord. That's it so far. Not a big thing, in inverted commas. Just ads and reveals before it came out. Sneak peeks, before it came out. Then photos of the artwork, and then people who received their CDs post the photo. Proper old school and proper in the way. What does survey says it here? Basically, the notion of owning the means of production in that sense. It's very homegrown, very homebrew, very in control of the narrative, which is, it highlights that model is possible.
Yeah, and a lot of things are possible when not everybody's in your pocket. I've on occasion been a bit grumpy about independent musicians and labels and everybody within the music industry treating them like they've got bottomless pockets, that will pick up the tab for everything. We haven't got loads of money, and when you have control over everything, you can make the decisions that matter to you, and you can do what you're prepared to do and what it costs you. And it's nice that you realize all that effort, whatever happens, you see a return for what you did, as opposed to handing it over and hoping and just paying stuff. And I don't know, it just feels a bit more honest and a bit more about, making something original and selling it directly, rather than being part of some industry that really has got no interest in making you huge or successful or anything. Quite the opposite, really. You're paying anyway. They've got no motivation to do anything for you.
Absolutely.
Which is why they're subverting your rights and selling them on, and all these other things that have made me very angry, to be honest, personally.
I hear that.
You may feel differently, but I think, this sneaky sort of, we'll take some of your rights away. No, that doesn't sit well with me.
No. I'm all for Molotov cocktailing the entire situation, bandanas and all. It's a very interesting point, and I think it's worthy of more discussion. There's another aspect to this, and this kind of comes back to what Survey Channel says. The more and more I am about owning the means of production, which I love that phrase. owning the means of production, releasing on your own terms, having control over your art and where you put it and what happens to it. There is also a legitimate business aspect to going it alone. And that is very fair when it comes to things such as when it comes to things like creating your own physicals and putting your own content out there, but also the social media game. And I also wanted to bring this in.
Yeah.
Lars is in here. It's a fantastic moment for Lars coming in, because Lars is very active on social media. And this is the other aspect of that, right? So you've got to balance these things out. If you're going to go it alone, and if you're going to go down the pure indie route, there's a certain part which suggests that you have to do more kind of content creation. You have to do more kind of awareness, create that more awareness, create that buzz, which is ever more difficult when the other algorithmic overlord of our world is Instagram and is Facebook and is everything else. And that's another soul sucking and another distraction from just being artistic. So I want to get into that, but I think it's a good time to bring Lars in and see where he's at with releases, and then we can talk about that. For reference, Lars is here, apart from being a wonderful human being, his head moved there. He's in the green room right now. He is also a patron. And one of the benefits of being a $5 patron is that I send the link every week, and you can go pick it up and you can come on the show and get involved in the conversation in real time. And Lars I haven't seen Lars for a few weeks, but Lars takes us up on that opportunity quite often. It's always a joy. Lars, can you hear us? Are you ready? Do you want to give us a thumbs up or a whoop-de-doo? That's a double thumbs up. I love that. All right, and a whoop-de-doo. Okay, we're going to bring him in, see where he's at. Hey, Lars, how you doing?
I'm good. How are you guys doing?
Very
good. Good, yeah.
I'm just over here owning the means of production, comrade.
There it is. Centralize, fight the power.
I like this. I love how Survey Channels brought that to the table, and we should use it more often. I'm also glad you got the T-shirt memo, Lars. Red today. That's good.
Oh yeah, that's funny. It's not even. It doesn't even have anything to do with that. This is an honor society because I'm a dork.
That's good. That's what we need. That's exactly what we need. So yeah, where are you at, bro? What's new with you?
Well, you said, he's very active on social media. I hate social media. I hate it so much. It's the worst thing ever now.
It is.
That said, I love everybody who follows me and interacts with me. I have so much fun with you guys on Blue Sky. We're having a great time over there.
Of course we are.
Okay.
That's what we need.
Are you trying to suggest that social media has degenerated in some way over the last couple of years, or
what? No, I would never insinuate something so awful. No. It's a fantastic place. There's nothing wrong. Anyway.
So bring us up. You've been listening to the conversation. I assume you've been in the chat. What do you make of? Firstly, let's break down where you're at in terms of how you see owning the means of production and releasing, creating control versus, streaming services, etc. And then I do want to discuss kind of like our online social presence, our content, and how much energy we're putting into the content creation aspect of things. So where are you at?
So as far as like owning all your own stuff, and I'm not saying like, because you can go out and you can find like a whole rig, you can figure out how to make your own physicals and all that stuff. I don't know if you necessarily need to do that, but also like when it comes to this, like I do my best to not try to exploit other people. I try to do it more as like a community effort, like as opposed to, you can, like, I know Eon Lake was talking about, it's like, well, they're just going to take a little bit of like, the rights to this that you made away, in exchange for us fronting you the money for this and blah, 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 It was just, it feels very death by 1,000 cuts, like everybody's trying to take like their little piece. So where I'm coming from is just, I want to have all the pieces myself, And then when people like, can we do a release through, Airprone or whatever? It's like, I don't take anybody's like rights to their music or anything like that. I just I try to keep it as straightforward as possible. And I know with like people who want to release on there, The main thing is they want to have like physical releases like in their hand to sell to people. So I try to make it as easy as possible. Although, shipping costs and tariffs and all this other fun stuff is not making it easy at all. I'm trying to be a nice guy, but the world is not letting me be a nice guy, and it's getting to me.
Yeah, it's a good point. I mean, the shipping costs, particularly one thing that's really hurt physical sales, which, survived pretty well up until the shipping costs started going through the roof.
Mm-hmm. It got really expensive just out of nowhere. I think when I first started shipping stuff, it would cost me like maybe $10 or $11 to send something to Canada. And now it's like $20 just off the bat, just to Canada. Like they're like literally right up there, They're like in the attic of this like continent. And it cost me almost $20 to send them something. So
well, this is it as well. It's like I've been doing the physical templates for Sunwarper's release coming at the end of the year.
Ooh.
And we were looking at the prices, and within the United States, it's similar in that regard. Depending on $10 to $20 depending on where you are. But if you want to say you want to get it manufactured in the United States and then ship it over to Europe, for a single CD, you're looking at $35. $35, which is just not. I mean, I know that it's art and it's wonderful and it's amazing, but not. I can't. Yeah, I can't see anyone.
Say to that point though, what about if you ship, 50 over?
Oh, it's incremental, so it's more weight, so it's more expensive.
Really, you can't even save by like shipping a box of them over and having someone send them out from there.
No, and that was the Wearer Foxmer approach at once upon a time to a degree, I believe. And I mean, and that's what brings me back to this notion of, what you're doing, Lars, with the cassette rig and making your own CDs and keeping everything in house has to be the way forward. Even if it is just a case of creating that mindset of going local, right? So you make a load of CDs in-house, you might make a run of 10, 15 CDs, and then you might go and put your energy into creating a live scene or a DJ set or whatever, and then just selling your CDs on the table at the back of gigs.
I've had a little bit of luck with that, with the cassettes, and everybody's really interested in the floppy disks. Good. Which is like I kind of did it as like a throwaway thing because like it started because I was at one of my jobs, like they were cleaning out their supply closet, and it's like they just had a whole bunch of floppy disks back there for reasons unknown. Like I have no idea why they had these or how long they had been. But I was just like, ooh, I bet I could do something with those. And now people are just rather interested in them, and it's great because it's extremely it's very low margin but very low investment. Like I can put it together very cheap, but it's like I'm not really going to be able to convince somebody to pay for like $10 for a floppy disk, so it's like, oh, $3 or $4, here you go.
I get that. And that is, again, that's very, I mean, because you're going to those open mics when you do that, right? So you're going there to see like-minded people. And I mean, that is kind of, I don't want to cheapen it by saying the word gimmicky. I just can't think of a better word, but it's something that people would buy, but because it's cool and it's in the space and it's different and it's nostalgic. But as a viable business model, people don't have floppy disk players, do they?
No, I have a couple, but it's, cool. Amazon, little $20 purchase. Not convenient at all. Let me just tell you. The weird quirk about these things is, in order for them to read the next disc, you can pop the disc out, right? But if you leave it plugged into the USB port, it thinks it's still the same previous disc. So you have to unplug it every single time and then plug it back in so you can do the next disc. Okay. Yeah, super
Stuff
convenient.
Yeah. That's
quirky.
It's quirky, and I mean, I've seen my fair share of elementary kid walking around with a Walkman and headphones like they did in the 90s. So
it warms my heart.
Yeah, it's happening. So this kind of early the question becomes, I suppose, bringing it back to the question at hand is keeping things in house or keeping things in a community or a community aspect. I'm getting my words mixed up, but you understand where I'm coming from, like where
Yeah, communal.
someone's communal. Thank you. Yes, thank you for that. Appreciate that. Yeah, for an English channel, not so hot on the English this week.
You hopped right over that channel. Fine.
But yeah, like this notion of having a communal aspect. If you've got people who would do stuff, I think, yeah, I suppose in that notion, the idea of running things as a business model where you're going to automatically get an ROI. I think, I don't know, maybe I'm speaking out of turn, I don't know, but the notion of decentralizing ourselves away from that notion of, okay, if I'm going to do a run of CDs, I'm doing it because I want to promote the music, not because I want to make money on the CDs.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And I know with like a lot of like doing physical, like that's why I went with the option to go like in-house, because I looked at a bunch of like duplication services, and it's like, you can save money if you order like more, right? But it's like, also, what am I going to do with 150 cassettes of something, Like, am I feasibly going to be able to sell all of them? Like, I'm doing runs of 25, and it's like, selling most of them, but also it's like, I can only imagine if I had to do like a whole like 100 run, like how many boxes of cassettes would I have just sitting around for however long?
But this is it. It's and we don't want to overconsume either, right? We also have to be citizens of the earth in that sense, and look at our consumption and look at our wastage.
Yeah.
That's a lot.
What do you mean these aren't
plastic.
biodegradable? Come on, man.
You know what I mean? Like, you have to kind of think, and also, what they go, music is the devil. Once upon a time, they had a really homely kind of vibe where they would print everything themselves and everything would be done. And it's a shame that they're not around anymore in that sense. So at least I think they are.
I remember them.
Yeah.
That's cool. It's kind of sad to think about like the different like labels and artists and stuff. It's like, like almost 7 or 8 years ago when I started doing this, like, oh, this is really cool. Oh, this is really cool. And then it's like, wait, what happened to those guys?
Well, this is a really interesting thing, and I think this feeds into the social media aspect of this as well. There was one year where I think it was either 2 years. I think it was 2 years ago that we did this, or it could have been last year. I can't remember. Where on Audionautic Records we did a release every single month, and it was a great experience. Wouldn't change it for the world. I also remember getting to December, being absolutely knackered, and being absolutely just burnt out with everything that we were doing, and in order for us to capitalize on that business venture that we did, we would have had to do that same again in the next year. And I just looked at it, I was like, no, we just can't possibly do it. We sat down and went, no, it's just killing us, especially when if you're just doing the label, if you're doing a podcast at the same time, if you're doing a weekly kind of show and everything as well, But that's very much like the social media aspect of what we do. The social media algorithm requires you to be constantly feeding the algorithm, constantly doing something, which is, again, another...
exhausting.
Exactly. It's exhausting. It's exhausting, it's distracting, and it's taking away, essentially, from being an artist in that regard. I mean, 3 or 4 years ago when we were talking about the release strategies, we were saying, you can't just be a producer anymore. You've got to wear all these different hats, and you've got to put all this out on everything. And now I'm kind of coming to this
waterfall releases and so on.
Waterfall releases and so on. Exactly.
God, what was it like when Spotify was like still like real big? Like there was this whole like, oh, you should be releasing a single like every week or something kind of strategy. Like all these people come up with strategies for like, getting on like the streaming charts stuff. It's like, oh yeah, just, if you're going to make an album, just, release a single like every week for like 4 weeks before your album. And then make sure you're making all of these like social media posts and, make sure you cut up little videos of you doing this or, just make it was so exhausting. It just
I don't think it's just us, but I get this impression from people who are relatively sort of mid-level, high-level, have quite a YouTube presence, large following and so on, that even they are sort of looking at economies of scale and just sort of have a process that works for you, that produces something as an end result. Film it as you go for all that other stuff. Do you know what I mean? Do as much of this stuff in one hit as possible, because the days of that grind culture where you're doing all of those things independently are kind of gone. It's not worth the time investment to do it.
Right.
So therefore, try and merge them into one common activity as much as you can. Give yourself a break.
Which is it's a fair point. The amount of times I have a camera constantly rigged here, and the idea is to kind of do that. But the amount of times I just forget and just don't turn it on, it's part of the reason why I'm not very good at social media. But I think that in its own right it's indicative, right? Because we talk about our 4 weeks to release, you got to have a music video out, and you got to do this. You got to talk about it for 4 weeks before you release, and then you got to talk about it 4 weeks after you release, or whatever, yada yada yada. What you're doing there is you're not promoting your album, is you're feeding the algorithms which ultimately make money from adverts that go next to your video.
Yeah, it's that attention farm you live next door to.
Yeah.
Oh, God.
And there's a balance to be said there, because like if you can just say you can just say feck it, and you can just say I'm not going to do any social media, and I'm just going to be a recluse. I'm going to make stuff out. I'm going to make stuff. I'm going to release it, and I'm not going to have any online presence or anything. And you can do that. Or you can be one of these people with the grind culture where you're pumping out stuff every 6 weeks. Because I've seen it work, and it does work. Like Vengeant is a fantastic example of a drum and bass artist who releases every 6 weeks. He's got a meme culture behind his work, and he makes fantastic videos, and he just keeps going from strength to strength. He's gone from playing in little dive clubs to playing arenas in the space of like 3 or 4 years. And it does work. You can do both, both are valid, right? But the question is, where's the balance to be found in that? Now, we're not, for the majority, we're not making music that could be easily niched, and so that maybe things don't apply. But where is it? Where is the line between promoting your work and not feeding the algorithm?
This is the important question, because I think it's really much like your release strategy. It's something for everyone to decide, more so today than ever before. It's really become quite a personal decision about how much effort is worth it for you, and how much do you get out of it doing it in the first place. And I think everyone needs to really draw that line. And I'll tell you what, if you draw it again next year, it's probably not going to be in the same place either.
No, probably not. No.
Well, is it okay? So is it constant self-reflection and constant maneuvering of what feels good for you?
Yeah. The only sure thing is change, really, and we of all people need to be the ones ready to sort of roll with the changes and be flexible and keep a finger on the pulse as to what's doing the job for us and what isn't.
Oh, did he freeze?
He's frozen. He's pondering, like I said.
Oh yeah. No, I was looking at him, I was like, oh, it looks like he's about to say something profound, and then nothing happened. I was like, oh, dang it. Dang it.
So
no, I understand exactly what you mean. Like for me, it's always been like kind of like, how much do I actually want to dedicate to this? Because the whole thing is just, I like making music, I like doing experiments and like figuring out like, oh, I can make this sound, I can do that, and the whole social media like promotion thing is just kind of ancillary. And I don't know, I feel like half the time I don't even want to promote like the music I'm making and stuff. I just want to make weird jokes online, and laugh about stuff. I feel like that's my enjoyment from social media. It's just the weird jokes.
Well, that's fair enough, but I think more than that, I think the media's changed. So I don't think the algorithm serves that kind of promotion as well anymore. There are certain people that I used to see a lot of that are just dropping off my feeds, and they're not stopped or anything. It's just the algorithm that used to serve up things like this and gave us communities and so on and reach previously have just completely changed now. And you're forgiven for thinking certain radio shows aren't running anymore, but they are. And
Oh yeah.
you don't see it. It takes a while for you to realize, oh, that's so and so. I've not seen anything from them for ages. You do a search, and they've been busy as anyone else. You're just not seeing it for some reason. So, and I also feel that I don't know. I think I could be wrong, but I feel like people's tolerance for like self-promotion content on social media has nosedived, and that they're very much like someone come out, someone else has got an album out, it's
I think the other thing is like so much of it is all like ads now, right? Like, and they do this thing with ads now where they try to make it look like it's just a normal video that somebody is posting up, like, and then it's like you like watch it for 5 seconds, you realize like, wait a second, this is trying to sell me car insurance. Like, what is happening right now? This is so annoying.
YouTube's become really bad for that. The frequency of ads is absolutely crazy.
Mm-hmm.
I honestly think people are switching off to a certain extent as well. So I find myself thinking about, well, if I am going to promote myself, I've got to try and do it in this in a way that's as least annoying as it can be. And what is that really?
Mm-hmm. I don't know. I feel like, because I'm not good with advertising or anything. I don't know how to professionally manipulate people, and I never really wanted to either. So I don't know what, like, how you're supposed to promote stuff. Like, I'll just make like little videos of like, with the music and, oh, hey, I have a new album out. Hey, check this out. And that's pretty much the extent of what I do,
I think my attitude's similar as well. I want to lead with something that is the thing, because if if people aren't interested in the new thing that I've done, they're going to be less interested in me prattling on about the new thing that I've done. You know what I mean? So I'd rather it stood on its own 2 feet on its own, and I could just point. Oh, look at that! Look, and try and leave it at that. Yeah, not too much me.
Exactly. I don't know, because I listen to a lot of like artists from Bandcamp. It's like they have like no social media presence at all. Like, I don't even know how I ran across these people. It's just like, oh, hey, this sounds really cool. Who is this person? Oh, look, I can't find anything about them. Oh well, I'm still over here listening to their music. So, I mean, how much are we really winning by like exhausting ourselves with like coming up with advertising strategies and all that?
Yeah, because I mean, again, and that's something that we used to talk a lot about conversion rates, and do people seek you out on other things and so on. And it really does feel like grassroots stuff, playing gigs, and the real world often feels like the only way to actually get anywhere, and that platforms just encourage casual listening of people who essentially don't care who you are.
Yeah.
They like your track that's in their library, happy days,
Yeah.
Don't necessarily even, seek out a second track on the same platform necessarily. It's just literally what crawls into their ears. And again, if you're trying to get somewhere, that may not be the kind of person that you're trying to reach. Ideally.
Yeah. It's because I remember like growing up listening to music, right? You would have to go to like the store and you would buy a cassette or you'd buy a CD and you'd listen to the whole thing. You'd probably listen to it several times over,
Yeah.
And, it's like that's not really how it works anymore. Although apparently it's like switching back to that now because everybody's just tired of like nonstop streaming slop, I guess is a good way to put it.
Well, I mean, yeah, it's like anything. Once you've got it on tap, you do start to not value it so much.
Yeah, that's a good point too. Because, I mean, yeah, I can listen to like any song I want to at any time now but I'm still going to the thrift store to try and find like cassettes of like old stuff I used to listen to because I don't know,
Yeah.
it feels more magical. I don't know.
Well, I'd also challenge that sort of myth as well. So obviously, streaming platforms are huge, and they've got an incredible amount of music on them, and more all the time. But there's also stuff that you will not find on there.
That is true. Yeah.
I mean, okay, it's quite niche. And maybe it's just the few people that didn't want to be on Spotify or whatever. But there is stuff that you will not find on streaming, and I think that's only going to increase over time, perhaps. And if you're interested in any kind of underground or music from people who like to think from themselves, and that you hear that in their music too, perhaps
Right.
that it might be good that it's that people, especially young people, to think, well, there's the mass-produced slop, and then there's like the underground. I mean, when I was a kid, I always wanted to hear the stuff that was almost hidden from you rather than rammed down your throat. And I'm hoping that will continue in the future.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I agree with that. And then there's also something about, if you make music and you put it just like up on Spotify and you're talking to someone like, oh, you make music? Oh, can I find you on Spotify? And it's like you send them a link and then what? It's like maybe they click that link, maybe they don't, I think is like, and then like I had one of my friends from like one of my previous jobs, like I gave him one of my some of my music on cassette, and he was like, oh my god, I was like, this is actually on cassette. I actually have to go find a cassette player now, as opposed to just giving him that Spotify link and he would have been like, oh cool, all right, whatever.
I say we're giving him an authentic listening experience as well.
That's what I felt like. I hope he actually got himself a cassette player and managed to listen to it.
I mean, for me, the physical media thing is about trying to offer some sort of value, or yeah, but I mean value. It's just, so you're not just like, listen to my music, listen to my music,
I like that.
This is all I could do, and if I could think of doing more, then I will do more and offer you that as well. But
Right.
it's about if you're going to bug somebody, if you're going to want somebody to invest time or money in you, then try and make it worth their while. That's the only reason that I would. Go on, Curtis. You've been very quiet. I don't know why you've been so quiet.
He jumped in. He's just been staring at us. It's like, am I being judged right now? I thought this was a judgment-free zone.
Polite.
I've been it's English super polite, and also I've just been interested in what you're saying. While my internet's been down, I have been watching the show and what you guys have been up to. I'm just enthralled by what you're saying. But what you're saying is very indicative of the last couple of chats that we've had. A Cresshead says essentially low effort equals low reward, and I think that ties nicely into kind of what you guys were talking about and what the community or the communal aspect of what we've been discussing kind of ties in. I was watching a documentary about the death of or the dying of the Berlin club scene. A couple of days ago, and it's the people who have been raving there since the 80s, talking about what it was like, the underground, what it was like to kind of make it work. And they were saying that people, they would go into an abandoned building, and then they'd set up all the sound equipment, but then people would come in and set up their own decorations and bring something to the party and bring the booze and bring right. and I think that that's kind of in a way what we're missing in that regard. There's a lot of what could I get out of it, especially again. So Cresshead is on facts today with saying that streaming is for audio wallpaper. It's very to the point and very brash, and there's not much room for nuance there. But that it illustrates our point. This notion of people just like to consume, right? And where can I get my next music? Where can I get my next hit from? That kind of thing. Less about how can I be part of that scene? How can I be part of the music scene, even if I'm not musically talented or musically, literate or whatever you want to call it? Yeah. And that is an issue. I see a lot of emerging artists coming up who have got a team of friends behind them, There's a Cave Dweller is one that springs to mind. It's an Australian producer. He's a dope human being, and he's going from strength to strength right now. And apart from the fact that he makes super dope music, is that he's got a community of people around him who are actively helping him create and helping him push his work out there. And yeah, I think it speaks true to this notion of if we want music to keep on going, if we want art to keep on being divisive and artistic and pushing boundaries, the non-traditionally artists need to get involved in that sense.
Yeah, you need to collaborate. If you can't find a scene, make one, that sort of thing.
Yeah, I was thinking the other day, and it's as nice as it is that like we can all like make music like in our homes now, and like we can have our own like equipment and own the means of production and all that. I feel like we did kind of lose something when the studio system for producing music kind of passed, because that was like for all of its faults, it did put you in contact with like other artists, other people who made similar music to you, maybe people who didn't make quite similar music, but it would put you in contact with other people involved in music, and it would help like kind of foster that community. And I think it's just kind of indicative of like where we are with a lot of things, but I think it's affected music profoundly in that way.
Yeah.
I mean, back when I was like, a teenager, I'm not trying to age myself or anything, but I'm about to. There wasn't really like, there wasn't the option to just sit in your room and like use your computer and make music. It's like you had to go form this thing called a what a foreign word, band. Like I think they were called bands.
Yeah. But the thing with that is, I don't know what's happening in the US at the moment. I suspect something similar, that in the UK, the smaller venues are really shutting down at a fierce rate because of things like, electricity costs and generally wanting to bulldoze places and build flats.
Yeah, kind of. A big thing that's happening in the US right now is like if they're not shutting down, they're getting bought out by like larger investors. Like in Colorado Springs, there's a place called the Black Sheep, where it's like you could always go there. It's like it was a punk bar for the longest time, and now they kind of like they still do like punk and like metal and that kind of stuff as well, but they branched out a little more. But they got bought by like a larger investor. And luckily, this investor basically just said, like, hey, keep running it the way you have been because it's profitable. We just want our cut. They haven't really tried to like get in there and like start changing things, But I think that's another like big problem. I don't know what it's like over in like the UK and stuff, but in America, like we keep getting these like areas that are getting gentrified. And basically you take something that has like all of this neat rich history, like there was like an arts district there was a music scene, there was all that, and they basically just turned it into the equivalent of a super Target, like it's just bland, like live laugh love kind of BS, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
I think we're losing some of that culture there just because it's like homogenization or whatever is going on there. It's very, very annoying.
Late stage capitalism affects us all in that regard. Monopolization, gentrification.
Seize the means of production, right?
I think it does come down to that. We're getting on, and I think I want to close this without running in too many circles. But I think it does come down to that, finding a balance between owning the means of production. At the risk of sounding a bit more like a Chomsky podcast than anything else, I would like
yes, comrade, yes.
The idea of there's got to be a way of taking more ownership of your work, but also I think focusing your energy on something that is going to create human benefit, not necessarily algorithmic. So if you're going to help someone, if you're going to collaborate with someone, not with something, don't feed an algorithm, but feed a community. I think that's a really good way of doing it. I think That's a notion there. That's my final word on that before we go to the community corner and then the show, which is a kind of a nice segue. But I want to see what you guys want to sum up on.
I think no algorithmic benefit is a great T-shirt to wear for playing live.
I've got it. No algorithm.
I want one.
All right, I'll get to work on that. No, that's kind of how I feel. I mean, at some point, like the algorithm did kind of like serve us in a good way. You know, like I remember like the early days of like music Twitter, right? It was like you would start following other musicians, and it's like your whole feed is just a bunch of musicians, you know, and you're all talking about music stuff and production and blah 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 blah. And slowly but surely, like the people who run these god awful excuses for sites decided that they have certain things they want you to see, and it doesn't matter if you don't want to see them, you're going to see them anyway. So that really, really sucks. I've done my best, especially with my Instagram, to like as soon as like any of that stuff starts to like sneak into my feed, like I'm blocking it. Like not interested, block this account, mute this account, all that stuff. And
just keeps coming back with a vengeance.
Yeah. Even if you keep doing that, they'll keep trying to sneak it in there. So it's very, very annoying. So now I spend much less time on social media because it's just a frustrating experience.
I think that's a good point. Balancing your experience is a really good one. I think it is a tool like anything else. I think there has to be a mindfulness about how we're using it. Maybe not just feeding the algorithm, but putting out something different. And putting out something that is, again, with no algorithmic benefit. I see a lot of these kind of channels coming back now where it's like trying to beat the algorithm or trying to cleanse the algorithm or do like 20-minute long short stories, because that's what content used to be back in the day.
Oh man, story times.
In that name, I want to move across the community corner. It's a really interesting discussion, and I feel like there's more to talk about. And I would love it if this conversation moved across to the Discord. We haven't promoted the Discord yet this week. It is in the description. If you're not part of the Discord, I'm going to be the one to pop up today. If you are, there we go. There you go.
There you go. Yeah.
Sorry, thank you. Yeah.
Just pinch the corners. There you go.
So if you haven't yet become part of the Discord community, feel free. It's a beautiful little place. And we talk about all these kinds of things ahead of the show and week in and week out. It's nice to see where people are at, you know, and it's just a nice inner community of people who are like-minded. So come down and say hi. And you can hear what people are up to, what people are listening to. FCC has just been working on a VST, which he's just dropped a zip file in, for example. That is my homework for next week.
A new instrument, you say?
Yeah, he's just dropped a VST. He's been making his own
What's
VST.
It do?
He put it up literally while I was doing the pre-production, so I don't know.
Chances of it not doing something cooler is pretty slim.
Exactly.
Okay.
So,
cool.
Stuff like that, like that's what our community is doing. We're making stuff and just sharing it in the community. You know, lots of people have been asking questions about generative music since we were on the show with Mike last week. It's a place to do that. Come down and say hi. It is a lovely community. And if you want to be part of that community, we love it. If you wanted to help keep the lights on, as we like to gingerly say once a week, help keep our overheads running, keep this platform running, you know, contribute to the label, that kind of thing. Please consider becoming a patron. I'm going to put another QR code here, and it's in the top corner, that one. That's okay. Or I could do this one here, and that's just again here as well. So there's two. Our pledges start at $2 a month, and that allows us to, like I say, keep running this show. And becoming a patron is a great place to be. I find it's a really lovely inner circle within the community. We have our own channel and we talk, and we have our hangouts every month. Starstream, which, by the way, do you guys remember the next one?
28th, is it?
28th of September. Yeah, 28th of September.
Oh, okay, cool.
Yeah. Is our next Starstream. This is where we all come together on a Sunday and just drink and chill and to see where each other's at. It's a really cool place to be. There's extra stuff as well, sample packs and little creations, early releases of music on our label. Access, I think I do at least just put down codes for my releases so patrons just can have them.
I plan to for my next one as well. Yeah.
Oh, I should do that. I have a whole bunch of codes for Error Prone Records right now.
You are already a patron. You know that, right?
I know.
I mean for Error Prone, yeah.
But just to plug it a little bit more, I forget all the benefits of being a patron, and I just equate it to just, I get to talk to you guys. But it's like, no, I can do so many things. I have great power and zero responsibility.
Well, and I think that's a really wicked mindset in that regard, in that name of community, just doing it for the sake of doing it. And we really appreciate it, Lars, so thank you. That idea, by the way, because it is our birthday month, until I think it's the 5th of September, 6th of September, I'll double check. We are running a 20% discount on new patronage. If you type in the code 5 years, all caps, at checkout, if you want to make a pledge, you'll get 20% off, which is really cool.
It's y'all's birthday month?
It was, yeah. So our birthday month is like mid-August to like mid-September-ish. I think that's kind of where we're at.
It's my birthday month too. Wow,
yay! That's what we need. So we celebrate it together. So yeah, come down and see. That's great. I'm still working on a new sample pack. I'm sorry, I've been busy, but I will put that up as soon as that's there. And just for those who are wondering, FCC's VST is based on the Fairfield shallow water pedal, but with extras. So it's in the Discord. Grab it in the Discord for testing. It's there. It's a zip file. It's for Mac only right now. But we'll have to see. Just because it's easier to code apparently on the Mac, I have no idea. But I'm going to be nabbing that straight away. So yeah, it's a great place to be. In the name of community and not just talking about our own thing. Let me see if I can do this really quick. This is something that I've been really enjoying from Shady Ridge recently. Yes, Google Chrome's accessing your screen. I know. I asked.
Luke Requeno, right? Yeah.
This is really a beautiful
vinyl of his somewhere.
I don't know what that one's like, but this is beautiful. This is a really beautiful album. It's really it forced me to reassess my relationship with ambient music and what is ambient music. It is, it's gorgeous. Shady Ridge, Myth and Murmur. I'll put the link in the chat because it's gorgeous. It's good. It's exciting time. I always get a bit sad after summer closes because obviously summer is coming to an end and the nights get darker. But then you realise that Shady Ridge Records leap back into life, and there's a lot of fun coming. You got to give and take.
Absolutely.
So, any more words on the community corner before we kind of run in to wrap up the show?
No, I would just say make your own decisions, really. Do what works for you. It's the only solid advice anyone can give you at the moment. And keep assessing. Move with the times. I think times are changing.
Times are changing.
There'll be new stuff soon enough, I'm sure.
Yeah. We'll keep rolling with the punches. Lars, final words.
Try and keep something in the tank left for music.
Final word. No algorithmic value.
I'll take that. Well, on that note, Eon Lake, what are you up to this week?
What am I up to? I've got to try and stop playing around and actually finish the album. There's some arranging to do. There's some overdubs to do, and at the moment I seem to be just goofing around with the new ideas, which I don't know. It happens, when you've got stuff to do. That's when inspiration goes. Hey, you can do this, though. You can do this, And so I need to sort of stop listening to the little voice on my shoulder and do some work. But I probably won't.
No. You'll get to it when the time comes, I suppose. You get to it when the time comes.
Yeah, I'll make out it's fate or predestination or some such nonsense. But really, it's just how much I'm procrastinating.
That's fair. Nothing wrong with that. Where are you up to, Lars? What's your week looking like?
So, me and my daughter, our birthdays are literally back to back. So this weekend we're going out of town to do that. I am going to teach my daughter how to bet on the horses.
Nice. Okay.
Yep.
All right.
Solid
Cool.
parenting.
You got to teach them life skills, man. You
Life
never
skills.
know.
Yeah. And if you keep it a secret, the more likely just to kind of abuse it, right?
Oh no, my wife knows. She's gonna participate.
Fair enough. That does sound like a great time. Yeah, that does sound like a great time. Good luck with that one.
Yes, definitely. Good luck.
That's what we need.
Somebody's horse is getting turned into glue this weekend. I don't think they actually do that. I think that's just
No, just burgers instead. That'd be fine.
horse burger.
Yeah. So yeah.
What are you
Thank
up
you.
to?
Me. I might
yeah, you.
hit record this week.
Oh,
Whoa!
I'm thinking it's time. I'm thinking I might actually hit record now.
Watch out, y'all. He's taking the jump.
We'll have to see. Watch this space. Yeah, it feels right. Feels right. So we'll see. Don't know when. Don't know how.
must be
But
then.
at some point, I think that red button's going to get pushed.
Right now.
We'll see.
Okay.
I've got to end the stream with the big orange one, so we'll see for now. Everyone's saying goodbye. Cresshead says, "Have a great week, everybody." It's nice to see you, Half God, Half Beast. Even if it came at the end, that's absolutely fine.
Yep.
Watch it on the playback. FCC, take it easy. It's a great show from Survey Channel. Thank you ever so much. And definitely, apparently, we should read David Toop's Ocean of Sound. That's definitely one to watch.
Okay.
Yeah, definitely. So yeah, that's homework. So we'll be back next week, I think. Yeah, definitely back next week. And we'll see what happens. What fun. Elon Lake mentioned that there's a new Electron box, which is quite fascinating. Which, despite saying that he doesn't want to buy any more gear, he's thinking about buying. So maybe we'll have a look at that. Who knows?
Yeah, I'm thinking about buying maybe in a year or so when I've saved up some money. Not right anytime soon, but yeah.
Wow.
We'll have to see. Anyway, we'll love you and leave you. Thank you ever so much. If you are here, thank you ever so much. You could be anywhere in the world and you chose to spend your time with us, be that live or playing back, and we really appreciate it. It means the world. So thank you. And if you wanted to roundhouse kick that like and that subscribe, that would do us a world of good as well. Don't have to.
Show no mercy.
Just don't. If
Wow.
you wanted to. Just putting it out there.
Man said roundhouse kick like he's Patrick Swayze.
Yeah, because you've got to, if it's the algorithm, you've got to support it, right? But also you don't have to be happy about it. So you might as well.
No algorithmic benefit, guys. Come on. Dang.
Exactly. Trying to run an internet-based business in 2025 without paying the idea to the algorithm is a difficult one, but we'll get there. Ladies, gentlemen, humans of the Congress, we'll see you next week. Until then, maintain the means of production. We'll see you later.